Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Park Howell Show here Friday morning, 10 a.m. out here in Phoenix, Arizona. Great to have you. Just got back last night from Oracle's Modern Marketing Experience up in Las Vegas. It was a show like I had never seen before. 3 days of an amazing information. And I want to say thanks again, Jay Bear, for having me out as a part of your influencers group. My wife, Michelle, said, oh, so now you're a quote-unquote influencer. So I'm not really sure how many people I influenced, but I got to tell you, I was influenced by a lot of really amazing folks out there. And you know what? When I returned home, you know one of the best parts about it? My faithful dog, Hazel, over there. Hazel, say hello. Yep, there's Hazel. She's on the show today. She was there to greet me when I got back, and it's just great to be back here in town. But I have three main takeaways after taking in all of that information up at Oracle. Yesterday, we got a chance to hear from actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You know, he's one of my favorite actors. You've seen him in movies like Snowden, The Dark Knight, Rises, Inception. He was in, Third Rock from the Sun. I mean, really an amazing actor, one of my favorites. And he was the final presenter yesterday. He has a really incredible thing happening called hitrecord.com. If you haven't been there, go check out hitrecord.com. It's an area where it goes beyond crowdsourcing. It's a community of creators, and anybody can take part in it, whether you're a writer, a musician, artist, animator, you name it. Kate Howell, you could even be in there as a DJ, creating electronic music. I mean, what they do here is they go beyond crowdsourcing talent. They actually have built a community around you. Put your ideas up. It could be a book you're writing, a story you're writing, an animation you did, music you're creating. And then Joseph Gordon-Levitt and his team get in there, and they find the ones that they really like, and they start doing remixes and mashes up, and they invite more people to come in and jump on. He directs the creation of everything, and then when it's finished, he puts it out to the world. They even have done 2 TV series now on hitrecord.tv, or hitrecord TV, so check it out. I mean, it is really cool. Hey, Mara, I see you just joined. Great to have you here. Jordan, nice to have you here. Chris Howell, hey, Chris, good to have you here as well. So it was really an amazing event. Just got back, blurry-eyed, but that was one of the things. So out of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's presentation, what I got is he is moving from crowdsource information to actually creating communities around the creation of these stories. Number 2, he talked about going from open source to actually paying people. So if you are participating in one of his programs and he selects you and your creativity to be a part of a video, a song, whatever it might be, a movie, any proceeds that come in off of the sale of that piece of material or that story, you will actually benefit in. So he's going from just being open sourced and pulling in this creativity to actually paying fair compensation. And then the number 3 thing is he's getting away from just socializing online and on social media and actually building collaboration. So it is one of the most fascinating collaboration tools, communities that I've seen online. And here's the big takeaway for me. Here's the big takeaway. And you know what I did? I snuck up front. I sat in the very front row, got a bunch of great pictures. It was like he was talking to me, even though he was talking to about 5,000 other people in the room. But here was the main takeaway. He told me he has been told all of us, he has been at Hit Record for 10 years. For 10 years, and it's only been the last couple years that it's really started gaining traction and taking off. Now, this is a major Hollywood celeb, an actor that everybody knows. His name, you would think, attached to any project would immediately take off, but he has been through everything just like you and I have been through, showing up every day, making an impact, just keep working at it, get through the discouragement. He talked about a number of times when they were discouraged, and he kept fighting through. So that was my real big aha moment that, even it took him a decade, a 10-year overnight success, even though we know who he is and what he's all about. So hang in there, keep doing what you're doing. Number 2, there was another big takeaway I got, and this came from the head of marketing for Oracle. And, their whole conference was talking about heroic marketing moments. Well, I don't know that marketing is really heroic in its own right. Come on, we're all just selling to people. But what they are really talking to is their audience members, those people in the crowd, the thousands that showed up for this, that are trying and working their hardest to really make an impact at their companies, move the needle in sales and marketing, and literally help people. So I'm not so sure it's about heroic marketing moments as it is heroic marketers that are just like you and I out there working really hard every day. Well, the theme that came through here too kind of also played off of what Gordon-Levitt's was, and that was, it's not the big things that we celebrate, it's all those little micro moments that we have success that builds to the next and builds to the next and builds to the next. So we have to show up every day, and it reminds me of a quote that popped into my head just about a month ago when talking to our son and thinking about this is, half of life is about showing up, and the other half is about following up. And I think those two presentations really underscored that to me. It's the little things that you got to do. Finally, the one big slide, the one big stat that went up, it went up on Tuesday. And it sort of has haunted me ever since. I just had no idea that we are leaving this much gold in the mine. And this was a stat that came up that said, did you realize that 80% of the content created within business-to-business organizations never sees the light of day? 80%. So while we content creators and story marketers out there are creating all this great content, it gets held up in legal, in HR, fear, whatever it is, it sucks the life out of this content. And so think about it. If that's the case, even if you cut that in half, say 40% of your content from your organization never sees the light of day. What a waste of time, and how much gold are you leaving in the mine? I'm talking about authentic stories, well told, stories about your customers, your supply chain, your people. This isn't advertising marketing stuff out there that you're just making up some clever campaign to push. These are actual stories that build your culture, that drives your performance, that are truly marketing and sales and marketing gold. So if that's the case, and I've got a training for you, believe it or not. Now, as you know, I've been talking about this work I've been doing with Melbourne-based Anecdote, and I'm now one of their certified coaches to present storytelling for leaders. And we are going to do that here at Park & Co. on Friday, May 26th. And I'm especially excited about this because Mark Schenk, one of the co-founders and co-creators of Storytelling for Leaders, will be here all the way from Melbourne, Australia, to help teach the teach the course. So I'll be learning as we go with him, but I've been certified. I spent 3 days in a master class, one-on-one with Sean Callahan, Mark's partner in crime in Anecdote. They have been doing this training program for 13 years with major brands all around the world, including the likes of Microsoft and IBM, and I don't know, maybe they might have even been in with Oracle, but they've been doing it everywhere. I saw how powerful this program was, and so I wanted to bring it into Business of Story. And the reason why is, as you know, with the story cycle system, we use it to build your overall meta brand story and get you very straight and clear of what your brand stands for in the hearts and minds of all of your audiences, from your employees to your shareholders to your leaders to your customers and so forth. When we do that, then my clients say, what next? Well, the what next used to be, we got to fix your website, we got to change your advertising, we got to fix your sales presentations. And although you still probably have to do that, my what next has really changed with the market. The what next now is to go and find these stories internally in your organization that becomes your content marketing. It builds your culture. It supports all of the things that you are doing with your brand story. So the beautiful thing about this training is you don't actually have to have your brand story in place, or maybe you already have a brand story that's really working for you, or you've been one of my clients and we've taken you through this. Here in a month, on Friday, March 26th, you will get a chance to sit down and spend 9 to 5 with us, and we are going to take you by hand through Storytelling for Leaders and help you figure out really how to identify these 4 primary stories within your organizations, how to spot them in the wild, how to capture them, how to archive them so you can use it for culture building and for inbound marketing, but also how to teach you and others to share and tell these stories. So Storytelling for Leaders, it'll help you get your message to stick, because now you're going to find these little small stories that make the biggest difference, the greatest impact in your life. And again, I go back to Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He says it's these little elements that come together over time, that create this big epic impact. It's that oracle saying you got to show up every day to make it, and then you got to follow up every day to make sure that you make this happen. Well, this is what storytelling for leaders will help you do. Plus, you'll help you tell stories that help you overcome entrenched views within your organization. You know how this is, where you've got one group of people pulling in this direction, you got another group of people pulling in that direction. They both have their entrenched views, and the only way you're going to pull them out of that is not share a bunch of data with them of why this is working or not working, but you're going to share the drama, the true stories well told within your organization that demonstrates and clarifies the direction that you want to go. You are going to connect with people and build rapport very, very quickly, because our subconscious, our reptilian brains cannot help, but they can't resist the section of story, says Jonathan Gottschall in his great, great book, The Storytelling Animal. So you use stories to help connect with people. It's not leveraging your leadership role or leveraging your hierarchy or that. It's literally connecting with people where they are in their world at their time. Hey, Rich, I see you just popped in. Sir, I have my arm up with a question. It's falling asleep at this point. All right, dude, what's your question? Type it in. Sorry about that. I'm just going 1,000 miles an hour here. Dave. Hey, Dave, great to see you here. Welcome. Carl, welcome. Man, I've got the whole Bothell contingent popping in. This is awesome. So, Rich, when you get a chance, ping me again with your question here in the comments section, and we'll go from there. Final thing I want to tell you about storytelling for leaders is what it does is it helps you identify these stories internally, and then you may have 80% that are floating around there that aren't being used, but then capture them and use them in your story marketing. Use them to really drive people to action. You know, here's a really good example of it. Rich is here online of Northwest Trophies, and Rich contacted me, I don't know, about 2 months ago, and we were talking about his company. You know, Northwest Trophy has been around for 100,000 years or something like that. I mean, when did you guys start, Rich? In like 1942? Maybe your grandfather started it. Great, great company. And but you know what? They deal in commodities. Can you think of any more commoditized business than the trophy and premium business? There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of companies that offer that same thing. Well, so I asked Rich, I said, what really separates your 1936, 3 generations? See, I was close. And I asked Rich, what separates Northwest Trophy from everybody else? And he goes, well, our customer service. And I said, yeah. Everybody says customer service. And you know, it's one of the hardest things to back up, and yet it's one of the most important things to do. So I never really find customer service as an added advantage for a brand unless you are doing exceptional customer service. So I pose that challenge to Rich. I go, what is the exceptional customer service that you offer? And he says, well, as a matter of fact, I think it was last November or December, around the holidays, that he got a call and an order for trophies from Spokane. By the way, Rich, I hope it's okay to tell the story because it really is a pretty remarkable customer service story. He gets a call from a lady whose daughter or daughters are on a soccer team. They're playing in Spokane, and she needed trophies for this tournament, you know, right in around the holidays. So things are pretty hectic. The order maybe came in a little bit late. Rich wrote it up, ordered it up, got it ready to go, and then he looked at it and he realized that the delivery on this thing was just going to completely blow their budget. She just didn't have the money. She had the money for the trophies, but she didn't have the money for the delivery. So what does Rich do? Rich puts her trophies, in the back of his car and drives all the way from Seattle to Spokane during the holiday season. I guess you took them right out to the field, dropped them off to the lady, no delivery charge, just what a really smart owner of a company like Northwest Trophy does. And I was blown away. That is exceptional customer service. So then my challenge now to Rich is find more of those stories inside of Northwest Trophy. Get all of your people finding those stories. That's why the storytelling for leaders would be ideal for you guys too, is it teaches you how to go in and spot these important stories, and more importantly, it teaches you how to tell and how to share them as succinctly as possible. So you can use it, of course, to build the culture within your organization, but use it for your inbound marketing. Use it to bring in other clients when you can say, we actually back it up. I think, Rich, you and I had fun. We even came up with a tagline. Northwest Trophy, customer service so great, you'll want to give us a trophy. I love that. I mean, that means you got to own it, you got to be accountable for it, but more importantly, you've got to find those stories and you've got to share them with your world. That's what I'm talking about. The other thing I took away from Oracle that I think is pertinent here to the Northwest Trophy story, and from my experience being in advertising marketing for 30 years, the most creative campaign doesn't win anymore. You can go out and you can do the most fabulous stuff, and you can do really, amazing, fun, high-end, high production value creativity, but it doesn't cut through. You know what cuts through? Are authentic stories that your organization experiences and makes happen in people's lives every single day, and then sharing those stories. It is the day of the Uber testimonial. But it's not just enough to come out and blather on about your testimonials. You want to put them in a story. You want to show what the real human impact was in doing that. Like, in Rich's case, this lady, she needed trophies, and her team was going to be crestfallen if they didn't have those trophies at that end of the game, but she didn't have enough money to bridge the gap to get them from Seattle to Spokane. So what does Rich do? Takes them to her. I mean, that's a really, really powerful story, and that's what we're talking about. Finding these stories, unearthing them within your organization, using them on two really important planes, that leadership development plane around culture, building culture, because stories shape the behaviors that create the culture, that drive the epic performance of your organization, that in turn create the stories that shape the behavior, that build the culture. You see where I'm going here. So that's one area. Then these wonderful stories become the most empowering, impactful advertising, marketing you will ever do, because what it does is it allows you to have true stories well told, hand them off then to your customers to retell them. When your customers retell them, it's called word of mouth marketing. And even David Ogilvy, the father of advertising, said the most powerful advertising you will ever have that actually costs you absolutely nothing is word of mouth. That happy customer out there singing your praises and saying, you know what, Northwest Trophies is where I buy everything. So that's a little bit about what we're doing, and that's what kind of underscores from all this craziness. Finally, I think coming back from the Oracle event, I got to tell you, this thing was amazing. I'm not even sure how many people were there, maybe 20,000. And I was a group of 15 quote-unquote influencers that we were there meeting people. We were sharing what was happening online. We were sharing it through podcasts. I recorded a podcast there with Amy Schmittauer and Vincenzo Landino. Those are the two toughest names I've ever come across. But we recorded a podcast there. Anyways, it comes down to, Oracle is this big marketing cloud, big, important. They do really great work for massive, massive brands around the world. But you know what? Technology is still simply a tool. Technology is nothing but a tool, or that magic wand that delivers the talents of human beings. And those talents come from what is that human spark, that human spirit that drives you, drives your brand, and gets you to connect with folks out there. So that's what I took away. It's the little things, Half of life is showing up, the other half is following up. It's celebrating the little victories all along the way that ultimately lead to that big, epic experience. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the 10-year overnight success with his hitrecord.com. And now, for you, finding those little stories, those little anecdotes, the small S stories in your organizations, compiling them, pulling them together so you can use them to build your culture and help support your brand story and drive your sales and marketing. So again, if you can join me, we'll be here live Friday, May 26th from 5 to 9, and that is 9 in the morning till 5 p.m., and that is the beginning of a dedicated 6-month training program that after that, every week, you will get an email with a story assignment that you will apply immediately within your business, culture development, and sales and marketing development. It'll give you a 10 to 15-minute exercise that you'll do that week. The next week we'll build on that. The next week we'll build on that. We will have check-ins once a month on conference calls and video conferencing. It is really, really a sensational program. It's been around for 13 years. They started marketing it or certifying coaches like me 8 years ago, and I just got certified in kicking off this program in this public work shop, as well as I'm already doing some private workshops for some other clients. So I hope you can join us. And I guess at the end of all of this, I just want you to think as you're going into your weekend, remember, it literally is the little things that have the biggest impact. It's the little stories and the little moments, even in your life, if you think about it, that had the greatest ahas, that pivoted you, that made you move in a different direction. So even though we're always reaching for this big, big story, this big, big win in sales and marketing and culture development, we never get there unless we take one step at a time, and that's what this is all about. So, Rich, I never saw your question. Are you still there? And I'm not, you know what, I've been working off of Be Live TV, and it was working pretty well until last week where it just completely thumped me. So I had to stop using it, and I just jumped right over back to Facebook Live. And I think that underscores another premise, especially in branding and marketing, man. It's really hard to build trust with a customer, and it's even more difficult to regain it. So I didn't have the confidence to come back on Be Live. That's why I'm here with you today on Facebook Live, and I don't really know this program quite as well, but if you have any other comments, please let me know. If not, I will finish up and sign off. Anyone there? All right. Well, Rich, if you have a question, shoot it to me via email. If any of you have a question, shoot it to me email. And if you'd like to learn more about Business of Story and our storytelling for leaders, just visit me over at businessofstory.com. I'll also have a link in this recording when we're all finished here where you can learn more about the training. And if you would like to have a training in your area, let me know. We like to have rooms between 10 and 23 people, no more than 23. Happy to put together a program and come and see you, either at your organization or in an open house way. And we'll be happy to make that happen, so just let me know. Reach out at park@businessofstory.com. Or also, if you haven't yet, join us over at the Business of Story Raconteurs, our private Facebook group here where I have all of these updates happening, pretty much daily there. So, feel free to come on over and join us there. Thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend, and story on, my friends. See you later.